Okay, it's recording.
Let's go.
Yeah. Woo. Ooh. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast.
Third Degree, the podcast, is brought to you by you, our wonderful listeners, those of you that choose to support us on the Patreon, patreon.com/third degree. If you like what we do on the web or the podcast or our reporting on social media on all the great soccer and DFW, why not join us on our Patreon? Third Degree, the podcast. Here we go.
Well, hello there, DFW area soccer curious person you. Welcome to another episode of Third Degree, the podcast. He returns once again, the bearded one, Dan Crooke. Howdy, Dan.
Yo, how's it going?
Yo, I'd be chillin'.
Cool.
And your hero, my hero, everybody's hero, editor, founder, thirddegree.net. And the original soccer influencer himself, Buzz Carrick. Come in, Buzz.
Yeah, Peter, there was some talk in the Discord this week about how you, my friend, are the actual influencer around town.
Why is that?
Right into that pizza story. Was that not you that got that?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. So what Buzz is talking about is there's a local news outlet called Axio. It's the Dallas affiliation for Axios or Axos or whatever it's called. It's a online news outlet. And a couple weeks ago, their local guy did a video about this amazing pizza that you can go find at some sort of nearly abandoned shopping mall in, I think, Southeast Dallas called The Plaza. And so him and a food critic, is that it, Dan? You're nodding your head like you know what this is.
I've seen the video, yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember who the guy is, but yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, do you remember where the pizza place, do you know the name of the shopping center? It's just called The Plaza, but I don't know where it is. I got the impression it's in a rough part of town because they go in to shoot the video of the pizza place, which apparently has really good pizza, and they cut and they come back and they're standing in the parking lot with the pizza in their hand. They're like, yeah, security wouldn't let us video inside the place. Like, what? So anyway, they go on and talk about how amazingly fun and like throwback this pizza is. It's like you feel like a kid eating this pizza. And I thought to myself, man, if they want to do a funny bit about weird places with surprisingly good pizza, they need to know about the pizza that they serve at Soccer Spectrum up in Richardson, which is called Azzurri Pizzeria. And I think all three of us have had this pizza. And
I actually haven't.
Oh, you haven't had it?
No, it looks really good. I've just never been hungry going there.
It is like, and I'm a snob about pie, and I think it's really, really top-notch pizza, and it's a really weird place. So I sent the guy a note and said, hey, if you're doing this as a bit, here's a suggestion. And literally like 3 days later, he's down there shooting a video of the place. Nice. And it turned out great. Yeah.
They're allowed to shoot inside the Spectrum, I bet you.
Oh, Spectrum totally let them. Yeah. Yes. And it's a great story. It's a great story because the guy that runs it started working there like 20 years ago because he was playing indoor soccer and thought that'd be a fun job. And 20 years later, he's running it. And I'm saying if you're ever in the Richardson area off of Campbell and 75 at lunch, go over there and have pizza for lunch. It is really, really good pie. So, and it has no right to be inside a soccer center, but it is. It's a weird place to eat food, but it's really good. Yep. And they got a whole bar and beer and the whole thing too. So,
and it sounds a little less hostile than the people who work at Big T Plaza.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Big D Plaza?
Big T.
Oh, Big T Plaza. Yeah.
It's like between Oak Cliff and Duncanville.
Yeah. That did look like good pizza, but I don't think I'm allowed in that part of town. I'm just going to say out loud. All right. Anyway. Hey, guys, look. It's a victory pod.
Yay!
Whoa.
In this godforsaken 2025 FC Dallas season, a little green shoot, as they like to say, from where Dan is from. Or is it shoot of green? Why are you
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I always hear guys on English podcasts talking about green shoots. when something good is showing up for a team that's not playing well.
I mean, yeah, like if you're exclusively listening to podcasts about growing weed, you will hear about green shoots.
So maybe I'm misinterpreting what's being said to me on said English football podcasts.
It sounds like it for sure.
They're secretly encoding sales for pot over there or something. Well, anyway, cut all that out, Dan, Buzz.
No way.
No, keep it.
So Dallas, and how even sweeter is you get a 2-0 shutout win over Broccoli and Nico Esteves at a critical time when the team's trying to make the playoffs.
All right, should we do the tiny caveat first, or should we talk about how great this one is?
Do it first. That's fine.
Do it first? Okay, the tiny caveat is that Austin has a U.S. Open semifinal on Wednesday, so chance to win a real trophy for them. So perhaps they were kind of looking at it a little bit. The commentators were talking about how the sub patterns seem affected, based on personnel. Whatever. But you got to play the games.
But did they rotate their normal starting 11?
They didn't talk about that.
It was their full starting 11.
Yeah, it was not their full starting 11. But for perhaps.
Wait. You guys just said two different things. It was or was not their full starting 11?
Yeah, it was.
11.
It was basically 1 through 11, the same as they played against Sporting KC.
I meant to be agreeing with Dan. Yes, the commentators did not talk about that aspect affecting the lineup at the beginning of the game. They did talk about how they thought it affected perhaps the sub patterns. And to be a little bit fair, if you have a big, huge game and you get scored on really quickly, you might think, you know what, we're going to save our energy for the next one. But you still got to play the game. And, after the game, Austin talked a lot about their mentality. But, I think the FC Dallas mentality was a big, big part of why they've been successful. I went back and looked. Dallas has not lost since Quill basically banished Lucho. The last loss was the New York City FC game when Lucho came in off the bench and they cratered and lost that game, and then that was it. After that, he didn't play. And after that, they got rid of him, and they have not lost since. It's 2-0-3. So they're in a positive frame. Now they should have done more wins in the last couple of games. They shouldn't have had 3 ties. They should have put away some of those games. It's not a finished product, but it's such a massive difference the way they're playing. And I thought Eric Quill, quite rightly, I think, he said it more demonstratively than I might have felt, said it was 100% absolutely the best performance of the year both ways. I don't know if I would be as definitive as that, but I think it was absolutely a phenomenal performance on both ends. And I think we could talk about here as we go forward with this, as we discuss this game, why that was the case. But it really was a tremendous performance by FC Dallas. And yet to start, I think, with Petar Musa and his now 31 goals over whichever one it is over 2 seasons now breaks the club record.
Now the record, yeah.
Yeah, so what a privilege to watch a guy like that play every game.
Yeah, it is actually a pretty remarkable run. Now, as you say, too many ties, but even prior to the New York City game, they had won against St. Louis and tied against San Jose. So in that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 run, they are 3-1-4, which is significantly better than any other run through the season.
Yeah.
So it is impressive. And I thought I agree with Quill. I think this is arguably the best we've seen them play all season long in many different aspects of the game. And Petar Musa continues to be this really, really outstanding player who feel like is playing a little bit beneath himself in terms of the rest of the team. And I just hope that they don't end up having to sell him in the offseason. That's really my biggest concern at this point.
Yeah, you mentioned the LFC San Jose. Remember, that's when the whole Lucho thing fell apart, right?
Right.
It was after the LAFC game that he, was benched and then sent home, and then they tied the San Jose game without him, and then they beat St. Louis, and then they lost New York City, and that last New York City game was the last time Lucho subbed in, and that was it. So, since this whole thing went down, and since Quill has cleared this, and this is not to say that Lucho Costa is not a good player, but it just underlines how much of a massive problem he was in terms of the team. Well, whatever it was. I mean, I'm not in the locker room, so I can't say that he was a jerk, but certainly the behavior after that, and Quill keeps talking about the chemistry of the guys that are here, the chemistry of the guys on the field, so it's fundamentally clear this team has turned a corner and it's playing differently. Is it too late? We'll see, but they're definitely not the same team they were.
Has anybody tracked how Lucho's doing down in Argentina or Brazil?
There was a great highlights video of him the other day.
Yeah.
He is, I mean, it's peak Lucho.
It's not the same player that we had here. No.
Oh, he's elevated his game to a new level.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I mean, a whole lot more pressure, a whole lot more talented teammates around him. He's not the central focus. He looks like he's freed.
There's been people too that have been talking about how Lucho's family wasn't here. They had gone back home apparently, and they were not in town. That's obviously a huge factor. They are down there, and now he's down there. So I mean, like, look, who am I to say how happy he should or shouldn't have been to be here? We already talked about many times that he asked to be traded, sent down to Argentina, not kept in MLS. And he was kept in MLS. So, whatever. He didn't want to be here, but that's fine. Good player.
While we're dumping on Lucho, can I upset an entire nation and a significant portion of the FC Dallas fan base?
Oh, please do.
Please do.
Do you know what really do you know what's really coincidental about this run since of not losing? Martin Paz is not in goal and Ramiro's the captain.
I was going to say that very much.
I was going to make a joke about mad Brazilian fans shoving Lucho Acosta into a shoebox after a bad game, but Dan bested me there with the kind of fine point. Yeah, that's right. When did Paz stop playing? When did Paz get hurt?
His last game was in New York City game.
Oy vey. Oh no. Buzz, you're our expert analysis person here.
Yeah.
How much is there to that, sir?
Well, I think I've mentioned or said a couple of times my opinion that Paz has not been the same player since he got involved in Indonesia. That goes back a year and a half for me, that he hasn't been quite as good.
Speaking of which, two things that just came to mind. One, Jacob Jackson keeping a clean sheet. That's the second time in team history, I think, that 3 FC Dallas goalkeepers have kept a clean sheet in one season. First since 2015, when it was Jesse Gonzalez, Chris Seitz, Dan Kennedy. And I saw something mentioned on Discord, and I think it's an interesting talking point. Does FC Dallas score those 2 goals with Martin Paz in goal with his feet?
Probably not the second one, because that was a long outlet to Delgado, who then made a long outlet. What I would say about Paz is I'm
not going in the direction I thought
it
was going.
I didn't think it was either.
We need to complain about something.
I think you have to have a conversation at some point about the play of Collodi maybe means that you aren't as locked into Paz, and perhaps that money in that international spot can be used in a different position. But nonetheless, I don't know that I'm ready to bench Paz yet. But I will admit that it is curious that this run of form has occurred when Paz is gone. I had not realized that was also the case.
Well,
it's entirely a funny coincidence. But yeah, I think there's the 2 wins. I think the point has come up, at least in Discord, both times of, does FC Dallas score that goal when Paz is in with the distribution that led to the goal?
Dan gets excited because he gets to bring up a controversial point.
Yeah, it's a fair point, but it is controversial.
I'm just doing you proud, Peter.
I'm all for stirring the pot. I mean, there's not like we've got a lot of other fun things to talk about this season. Why not?
Well, actually, on the note of fun things, a mound of dirt on the east side of Toyota Stadium got moved. Nothing's been built, but a mound of dirt got moved.
When are we going to start placing our bets on whether or not the stadium is done in the time frame they had originally announced? Because I think I would like to get my money in before the odds change against. I'd like to really. Yeah. Well, I'd like to make as much money on this as possible.
I'll take the over, please.
I read a story yesterday, I think it was, that referenced the Toyota Stadium renovation happening now so that it could be ready in time to be a team base camp venue for the World Cup, and just like, no, the first phase won't be finished by then.
No. Alternatively, I actually met Matt Denny officially for the first time on Sunday. Turns out he was playing on the team I was playing against in our Old Man Beer League on Sunday. And what
Did you foul him?
No, he was too fast. I couldn't catch up to him. But then, he ran away on a breakaway, and then he must have carried the ball I don't know, more than half the field, got into the box, and I'm chugging along trying to chase him down. And then he takes a shot and he blows it like 5 feet wide. And I'm like, dude, you made me run all this way for you to not even put it on frame?
I was about to say, I always heard that Denny was a good player in his
He is.
youth, but
He's all right. Yeah.
he's not a finisher then.
He's got it. That was just a bad moment. He was good the rest of the game. Anyway, I was having a conversation with him because the first time I had officially met him, and we were having a really nice conversation about the facility they're building down in Mansfield. And he's so excited, and there's genuine reason to be excited about that because, man, all the images look great. He, is telling me that sales are already looking good, and they've got big plans for that thing down there. And it really, I've thought about it. It's such an underserved part of just the total DFW area. You could see that being a really good success story in that part of town. Trammell, the kid that occasionally board ops for us on the kick around, he's a teacher in Irving, like a 3rd grade teacher or something. And he lives, he says, like 3 blocks away from when they're building it. And he's a soccer fan, but this first time he's ever considered buying season tickets. And he says he's ready to go. So that's really cool, man.
It seems like a really good opportunity. I mean, for one, the reserve team's going to have a better stadium than the first team for a couple of seasons. But
Or
even
for
stuff
a long
like
time.
yeah. But even stuff like they're putting a Soccer 90 inside of it. It's a good retail opportunity.
Yeah. It's smart. Look, I feel bad for everybody who's a current fan having to think they got to go all the way to Mansfield to follow the team, but it makes sense. I get it, especially with all the youth fields and stuff.
I'm a bit worried that they're going to put an emphasis on winning and then sign a bunch of mid-tier foreign guys in their 20s and not make it a team of transition because they'll want to win games and try and win championships to take advantage of the business opportunity.
But
I didn't feel like that was an appropriate time for me to make the play the kids case, Mr. Denny.
Not suggesting that you do that.
Yeah. Maybe
he's not the one.
Maybe my next
decision anyway.
I think it's kind of the culmination in what we've talked about since they unveiled the brand in late 2018. That the whole emphasis of it being North Texas SC. That it's not FC Dallas. It's not Dallas's team. It's not Frisco's team. It is, they're trying to find their market, their home base, and obviously they talk to Fort Worth and wherever else, but now they've got that full buy-in in Mansfield and a permanent home that's coming. It's really cool to see.
All right, sorry, I didn't mean to get us so off track.
That was a gigantic left turn from the game.
Sorry, my fault. I admit it's my fault, but it was good content nonetheless. All right, so back to Football Club Dallas, big win over Broccoli, 2-0. Dan, you were there. Did you talk to Nico? Did you take a moment to go visit with the guy?
I didn't, no.
Nah.
No, it was just Quill got in a bit late. They had a drone show, so the players always get off the field late. So Quill actually did the press conference before talking to the team, which is rare. So everything was kind of a bit shuffled around.
Well, he had to have been super excited or pleased or whatever the right words are for that kind of result. He hasn't had many opportunities to express glee this season.
It's just been funny. I mean, the last 2 wins, both wins have been the most complete front-to-back performance.
Yeah.
So, that's if you kind of ignore a couple of the draws in the middle of that, that's a really good sign.
Well, I got to say, I enjoy this midfield with Cappis, who continues to impress. Ramiro, I think, is playing better, and maybe that's because maybe the midfield's a little bit more solidified.
I think in that game particular where he started the game at right wing back. They just gave him so much space, and he's got a good cross on the ball. So he was just having fun pinging balls into the box.
Yeah, having him out wide there, no one expects him to be like an explosive, dynamic threat. So he doesn't have to 90 minutes bust him up and down the field, and kill himself, but he can get forward in a supporting position. What we might call in the modern game sort of a false wing back, in the sense he's not going to the end line. He's just coming underneath and occupying space, but you can't get across him from there. Kaik brings that younger energy on the inside in between him and Cappis, can do some of the, I don't know if you would call it intimidation, but some of the hitting that maybe is necessary. But Cappis is playing a complete 2-way game, just a phenomenal game from him. I think he had like something like a 92% passing percentage and like 10 progressive passes, and good defensive actions too. Like six passes into the final third and 5 into the box. So he's a complete two-way player right now, and is the engine in the midfield, which is amazing. For him to become this big of a player for them that fast is incredible. Logan Farrington has taken up a lot of the playmaker role in a lot of sense.
I'd say so. With that first assist at 90 minutes or 90 seconds into the game.
Yeah, that was so good. But he had an XG of 0.5, and he's always had a fair number of assists for a guy that plays as a frontline player. So he and Musa are combining really well. Delgado behind him. He had a stinker last game, so this game, of course, he was good. He doesn't get pure chance creation numbers. Delgado doesn't, but he does a lot of the linking that needs to happen, underneath those two guys, and facilitating. And if you look at the FC Dallas passing charts, it was all up the left because of something I'll get to in a second, and not the right. But a lot of that has to do with how direct they're playing. But for me, the most interesting thing was something I thought were the week before, where I thought Quill had overthought it with the idea of putting Irigide out wide and all this kind of stuff. And he kept it really simple this time. He took his best center back, put him right in the middle, Saze Irigide, brought back Ibiaga after a game off, so he's fresher, and put him in his right center back position where he's comfortable, and then use more on the left. And because more was on the left center back side, that gave Bernie Kaumungo the freedom to release, because it's real simple then for Ramiro to drop in and they slide over a little bit, and all of a sudden it's a back four in a sense. And Kaumungo's going crazy. And Kaumungo has his best game of the year. He has 7 progressive carries, gets a goal. Just a terrific performance by Bernie. He gets on the team of the week. Quill said it was one of the best performances he'd ever seen, and said the guy's like, God, if he keeps playing like that, he'll be in the national team. I mean, it was over the top. Called him one of the top 10 players in the league. I think he meant outside backs, but I think he got a little caught up in the moment and really got over the top on it. But Kaumungo definitely had a really great game. So, Quill was right, front to back, quality of play defensively. Because they got the early goal, they were able to sit in there 5-4-1 and be really compact. They didn't have a ton of the ball, but Austin doesn't like to have the ball either. They're a team that wants to sit compactly too. So they didn't really know how to break Dallas down. They had trouble even get through the midfield, let alone like into the center backs. So really strong all the way around performance. 15 shots, good chances on goal. Just one of the better, limited Austin to 12 shots, and I think only 2 or 3 on goal. They were all saved. So, as Quill said, front to back, offensive, defensive, really good performance. It's fantastic.
They just took care of the ball so well as well. I mean, you've got from the starters, Irigide had 95% passing, Farrington 92, Cappis 90, Shackmore 90. I mean, they, nobody was off it. It just felt very much like what we haven't seen from an FC Dallas team in, I guess, since Lucci, really, where they were really highly valuing possession and passing numbers.
Yeah, they didn't have a high amount of the possession, but they weren't loose with the ball, and they didn't have as many turnovers or miscontrols as they usually have.
The second half, definitely, because they did have more possession first half. Austin, late on, Dallas kind of collapsed back into a bit of a low block, really let Austin have the ball because they couldn't figure out what to do with it anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I just want to go back to the opening goal, because I've watched that thing, I don't know, 5 or 6 times, and I can't figure out how Farrington knew to make that back heel, because he never looks. I don't know how he knows Musa's back there, because I can't figure out
big brother, little brother thing going on.
Yeah, I can't figure out where in the sequence he located Musa to know to make that. I mean, there's obviously some luck, because he squirts it through at least 2 Austin players to get it to Musa, and Musa's also lucky that some Austin guys just dangling back there, holding him on side. But all that aside, I still can't figure out how Logan knew to even try.
Well, a lot of good partnerships can develop verbal cues, with each other, that you can make a noise of some kind. Like Jason Christ used to have this noise he would make, to Graziani.
Would you like to impersonate it right now?
No, because I can't do it very well.
Was it a whistle?
It was also like 25 years ago. I don't remember what it was. It was coo. No, I don't remember what it was. But I know that he would do it.
Fucking bow.
It wasn't like that. It was a little noise he would make.
Hey,
it was not necessarily like a vocalization of, Logan, I'm wide open, pass me the ball. It was like, but they have these little cues, sometimes with each other, and they can make a little noise, and they'll know that, that means I have a lane and he's going in, so.
I think sometimes as well, just them doing that in training, they could have, like when I used to play rugby, I would know who was going to cross behind me that I could just pass it, no look, and they're going to be there.
Yeah, it's part of a great striker partnership, and those guys are on the same page. Logan, since he's become more of the key starter, which is a month and a half that we've been talking about here, has really been playing fantastically, and those guys are dialed in together and just playing on the same page.
Well, I'm really also pleased to see that Bernie is figured something out, because I think I wasn't alone. I know I'm not the only person that really thought that guy was kind of had his 15 minutes of fame, but he's kind of put it back together. But that finish was really good on that goal.
Bernie benefits a lot from being deeper and having the ability to run at people. Quill's put him in a position to be really successful. But Quill also talked about with Bernie, talked about his individual defense. And he said, and I can't document this, Quill said that he didn't think Bernie had been beaten one-on-one as a defender with like a guy trying to get to the end and get past him. Now, I know there's been some mistakes on that side of the field, but he's talking about a 1v1 like race kind of defense. It's like, I can't go back and tell you if his Quill was right, but Quill said
he did acknowledge that there was at least one game where he got double teamed and just there have
been some mistakes on that side. That's not what he meant. I don't think. I think he meant just like a heads up 1-on-1. Let's get to the end and see who can get it in or not. But even if he's wrong about one or two, still he's true in the most part that Bernie has picked up that individual part of his game. It's the team collective positioning and shape that still needs work, defensively speaking. But Bernie's playing great. The real question for me would be what happens next year if Quill goes back to his preferred 4-2-3-1. Bernie will just be a straight up wing, and this wing back talk will have been almost sort of meaningless. But for now, great. It's going gangbusters, and everyone's got to be excited about what's happening with Bernie.
There was something that Quill said that kind of struck me a little. We've obviously seen quite a few wing conversions to fullback or wing back for that matter, and Emma Tumasi, how frustrating that was. Out and out attacking winger, plays right back, can't get past the halfway line. Quill had mentioned that with Bernie, he's really emphasizing keep that winger mindset. You're just playing from a much deeper position.
Yeah. And I think this game, I honestly think that shift of allowing Shaq more to be on that side allows Bernie to release much more aggressively and get up the field with much more abandon. And Bernie's got enough pace and will and fitness to be able to get back and recover too. So, he spent big chunks of the game popping up in the final third up there almost as a real wing and in a sort of an overload situation because Delgado was doing is not really a wing, right? He's checking back underneath. And so for Bernie to release up that side is really helpful.
So Dallas now sits on 34 points with 5 games to go, and they have a huge game this weekend. Their nemesis, the ruiner of all seasons, the Colorado Rapids come to town.
In playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah. Not so much in the regular season. It's the playoffs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, this is related to that. Is 8th place Colorado comes to town. And I don't know what you are thinking in terms of lineup. Does Collodi automatically get his job back?
Automatically? No, I wouldn't say automatically.
Do you think he starts?
I think he's probably got the edge. It's not like Collodi was playing poorly. He was playing really well. It comes down to Collodi's feet are better than Jackson's. Not that Jackson's are bad, but Collodi's feet are better. How comfortable is the defense is the question. Who makes his team feel better? And I don't have an answer for whether that's Jackson or Collodi. So it could be either guy, and I'd be like, okay, it won't surprise me. I will say that, Collodi is their guy under contract, homegrown, long-term project. Jackson's contract's up, so there's no guarantees even you're going to have him past this season. So does that mean it affects your decision-making process, or does it you not care at all and it's a game-by-game thing? And maybe practice will tell, and I don't have anything other than I think Collodi's feet are just a little bit better. Other than that, I don't think I can really give either guy an advantage. They're both played fantastically.
Since Buzz, you are the numbers matters guy.
Yeah.
Does it hurt you and pain you that your soccer team is a pair of goalkeepers wearing the number 30 and 98?
No. Well, yes and no. 30 doesn't bother me because 30 has been the backup keeper number here since 1996. That number's only been worn by keepers, and it's almost always worn by the third keeper. And it always has been the case. So that one is fine. That's just a side number. Paz has the 1. That's okay. The 98 bothers me. Just like the 99 of the Brazilian dude, Malagio or whatever his name was.
Bellagio.
No, it was Bellagio or something like that was his last name.
Felipe
yeah.
Miglioraro.
Yeah, blah, 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 that guy. Philippe, number 99. So he already broke the that's a stupid number rule. So now we have another stupid keeper number. You know,
right.
If you would have followed the club rules, it should have been 40. That's the extra keeper number that they've used historically speaking, but they didn't. So
speaking of keepers, I found something out about Jacob Jackson. There was I walked into the locker room and he's very very professional, very forward with his interviews, which seemed really strange for a kind of a guy who's floated around the league a little bit. His older brother is actually the catcher for the Baltimore Orioles, so he's been around kind of that environment for a long time.
I thought you were going to say his brother was Michael.
He. Now his nephew is Blanket.
Oh.
That's an obscure reference.
That's it. Yeah, that is
it?
that has to rub off on you. And your brother's a pro Major League Baseball catcher. There's got to be some side effect of that if you're trying to be a pro athlete yourself. That's interesting. Well, it runs in the family. All right. So what about the rest of the lineup, Buzz? It's going to be the same thing?
Man, I mean, why would you change anything? Like that all worked really well. So like, let alone the win rule, like that's the best game of the year. Why in the world would you change anything? And if you think about it, even position by position, the only thing that has sort of a battle would be like the idea of, do you have a center back you really want to get on and put Shaq Moore back at wing back? It's like, well, I don't think so. Shaq Moore's playing better than Ibiaga and Abubakar for my money right now as one of those center back positions. Plus, it really allows him to keep those three guys that we talked about, Ramiro, Caik, and Cappis across the middle, sort of across the middle. Ramiro's out wide.
I was going to say, I think there's one thing that you could think about in the back line that it might be overthinking things. That gap between Ibiaga and Ramiro, it was very much like the old Hollingshead and Ziegler gap. They hit the ball to the end line for O'Brien to get onto a couple of times. I could see Colorado doing that with Cole Bassett.
Yeah, they really liked they. You remember over the last couple of seasons, they really liked to hit the right side too with
Keegan Rosenberry.
Good Lord, you know who I meant. Yeah, we'll start that sentence over with
Mintberry.
Yeah, when it was Farfan and Ibiaga usually in that gap over there, they would like try to hit that gap. So you might be right, but I don't know what your solution would be there other than you're going to put Abubakar back in at Ibiaga.
That's the concern is, does he overthink it and need Oregido for his,
Well, you could flip more back to that side, but then you would lose a little bit of that release on Kaumungo that you would get up the left by having Shaq Moore over there who could slide out really effectively. I guess you could put, Bubakar on the left and let him slide out. I feel like he's better at left center back than Ibiaga, but that's a semantics perhaps. And then if you go up the field, really, I think Logan Farrington's playing so well that he would stay out there and not have Anderson Julio back in, I don't think. And otherwise, that's really it. I mean, I think, Delgado's earning his spot. All the mids are earning their spots. Kaumungo's, as much as you like Norris or Torcado, Kaumungo's playing really well, and those guys aren't really wingbacks. So, I think really it's that decision, as you say, that gap, that Ibiaga Ramiro gap that Austin didn't do a really good job of attacking, but that might make you a little bit worried. But hopefully they won't overthink it because I thought it worked so well. You just keep what you're doing. Don't change it up.
7:30 at Toyota Stadium. Colorado comes to town.
6-pointer.
6-pointer. Big one.
Yeah.
Real big one. One
of the teams you probably think you have a chance to catch if you're going to get in is them and who's that other team that's right there? Is it
San Jose?
Yes, it is San Jose, and Salt Lake right behind them. So those are the three teams you really need these points against if you're going to get in.
And we haven't had this happen often here on the pod on a pod where Dallas or FC Dallas has won. Dallas Trinity lost. In fact, they lost their first game of the weekend violently down in Florida, 4-1.
Yeah, this is the second place team. Dallas is still in first place on 9. Trinity is with Fort Lauderdale on 8, and they have a player that people keep telling me is really exciting. Van Trek. I do not know much about her, but she did have 2 goals. They're a team that people talk about as being one of the more, I don't know why necessarily, one of the more marquee teams in the league, where the owners are putting a little money in there and they're doing things the right way and have some talent.
Are they playing at Miami's temporary stadium that Miami's been playing at? Messi's been playing at?
No, they're playing at Nova Southeastern.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Trinity ran into a good team. Wisner got a header on a goal. She's pretty good in the air, even though she's not super tall. That was really the consolation prize, because Fort Lauderdale pretty much outplayed them all over the park. I was really excited to see Caroline Swan get in, who's 15, 16 years old. I don't remember exactly how old she is. That made her debut. Really exciting player. Her brother Caleb plays for North Texas SC. So, this is the middle of this long stretch of road games. I think this was the second of the 5, maybe it's the third of the 5. I can't remember. Anyway, they do have the upcoming game during the state fair against Club America Famali. And Dan, I know they have this big open house at the Cotton Bowl. Are you going to be able to get down there and see the big open house?
I am planning to go on Thursday. Yeah.
Nice. Very good. It's if I understood it correctly, it's from like 5 o'clock to like 7 or 7:30 for people that want to go down there. You have to sign up for a time slot, but
yeah, I think they've aimed it at season ticket holders. They'll have the team out. They'll have the Neal family all out there. So should be a good, schmoozing time.
Very cool. And they have the Trinity has Tampa Bay Sun on this Saturday, another, road game. So obviously they're coming home between those games. Of course, nobody actually stays out on the road for 3 or 4 weeks, but they come home every time. But, they still got their work ahead of them with all these road games before they get back to a greater helping of home games more towards the winter.
And then North Texas SC, as we mentioned, talked about earlier, they had, so I always forget how this works. So they were playing Sporting Kansas City 2, but because in MLS Next Pro, there are no ties. We get PK shootouts, and they lost in the PK shootouts. And am I correct that Sporting Kansas City 2 is a pretty crappy team?
They're worse than North Texas, but because of the shootout win, they got more points than North Texas did. And North Texas, if you will, dropped some points because they were leading that game and gave up a goal late. So that wasn't a good. They've had some struggles. They played a lot of kids, so they've had some struggles over the course of the year, holding on to wins. It really cost them a lot at the beginning of the year, and they had cleared it up for a while, but this is another case of that happening. Sporting is actually the last place team in that league, on the West and in the league overall. So that's a bad drop of points there, especially because it leaves North Texas in 9th, which is 1 spot out of the playoffs. They're 1 point out of the playoffs. There's 3 teams ahead of them, however, on 38, and they have 3 games to play. So take care of your business over 3 games, and you should be able to get in. But if you don't, you're not gonna. So it was, again, nice to see them play a really young team. That's what I want to see. Aaron Essel, one of their more mature, more physical, more experienced players, hurt his leg in training and posted a picture of himself in a big boot. So not optimistic he'll be back this season. They don't have injury reports, so we don't know what's officially wrong with them. But when you post that boot of yourself up in front of the TV with that big, huge boot on your foot, it's not a good sign.
No, for sure.
So they may be in trouble. They have, let's see who they have. They play Minnesota 2, which is quite a good team, if I remember correctly. They are in, where are they?
7th.
Oh, they have fallen off at the beginning of the year. Early in the year, they were doing quite well. They have fallen off some. So then, it's a chance for you to do some damage. Real Monarchs and LAFC 2 are their last 2. So LAFC is behind them and Real's in front of them. So they have 3 games against teams that they should be, if they're on their game, they can probably get some points from and hopefully make it into the playoffs.
Going back to my conversation with Denny about the new stadium down in Mansfield, when does the next pro season start?
Shortly after the MLS season starts. It starts a little after and finishes a little before. So they'll start we don't know.
Interesting to see what next year does with the World Cup and everything.
I thought he told me, and I hope I'm not getting this wrong, I thought he said the new stadium will be open in May. So I wonder if they play a couple of games in Frisco until the stadium opens or something, or maybe they hit the road for the first few games.
Start on the road.
Yeah, something like that.
You know, because like I believe they've talked about the MLS season starting really early because of
World Cup.
We've that like it might be. I think they even said it was starting in February,
late January, right?
Yeah, something like, because we talked about the idea that like camp could open either like the first week of January or even like mid-December, depending on how you define like when they said the season was starting in that early, mid-February, early February or late January type of range. So they probably won't start that early. So like, but they probably will start usually around March, I want to say. So you still could have 2 months that you might, if it doesn't open until May, they may have a couple of months. They got to figure out games. I don't know why they wouldn't just play them at Choctaw. It would be kind of a disservice to your fan base if you're going to have any home games to play them in Frisco when you're trying to build this whole Mansfield thing, All
right. And speaking of kissing your sister, Texoma did the same against Spokane Valley.
Yeah, Spokane Valley is good. Second place team. McManus had a brace for Texoma. Spangler had a goal. And this is something I've never seen before. Javier Garcia, their goalkeeper, saved 2 PKs. And they still tied 3-3. Bit of a barn burner of a game. Unfortunately, Spokane kept coming back and kept tying it up. And that's a blow because Texoma is now in 10th place, which is 2 spots out of 8th place. They have 6 games left. They're 4 points out of it. So they're going to have a little work to do over their last 6, although they do play the last place team, Westchester. They're at Westchester on Sunday. But what is probably more interesting to people that might listen to this podcast is I talked to Ben Watson this morning, who's the owner of Texoma.
Oh.
So I talked to him about this whole situation with what may or may not be another team coming in there, or some people may be thinking that some movings. And I'll tell you what he told me. He very emphatically said Texoma FC will be playing in Texoma next year, and we're staying in Texoma, and we're not leaving Texoma. So I asked him to
super vague.
Yeah, it is.
Define the boundaries of Texoma.
We will be playing in Texas.
Because Texoma is not a city. That's exactly right. So I asked him about like, what is your USL territory? And he declined to define that. But he did say Texoma means Grayson County, which is the county higher up where Sherman and Denison are. And then Oklahoma, like up to Durant. So for the purposes of this discussion, as he defined Texoma, that is not Salina.
Oh.
And the conversation we had was about them being as surprised as we are about this whole idea that there'd be this USL team in Salina. He declined to get into what their area is. And he didn't really get into like, what their reaction was to this other team other than surprise. So we will see. Now I asked him about stadium, and he pointed out that yes, since they've been announced as team in the first place, they have had on this idea of a stadium eventually, and they still would like to keep working on that. He mentioned that, while Sherman and Denison have a rivalry, they would consider that to be all their area. Like all that is Texoma.
Yeah.
Right. So he's leaving a little bit of a door there open, but he did mention specifically that for like a midterm sort of answer that, and I hope I have this correct, that Sherman is finishing up this new high school stadiums sort of down on the south side of town, I think. And once that happens, like what I took him to mean this winter, that they will basically be the only tenant left in that stadium they're in now.
Stadium.
And so that stadium would become more sort of available. Maybe he's being optimistic about something potential. We ran out of time because he had another call going, but all the conversation was about their future as Texoma FC, where some stadiums might be available that they could build and work on, now, is he lying through his teeth? I suppose it's possible, but it seemed to be, I've met him quite a few times and he seemed to be genuine and honest in this discussion with me. And so I'll take him at his word that as he defines Texoma, that they will be playing there next year. But it does raise questions: is what the hell is this other thing then that had this launching social media accounts and taking deposits on all that stuff?
My speculation is going to turn out to be true. It's the guy they fired going rogue.
I mean, it could be. And as Dan has pointed out quite rightly, that none of this follows the usual patterns that the league USL operates in. They have very clear steps that they take when they announce new franchises. This hasn't followed that. So, I mean, your all's guess at this point is as good as mine is what's actually happening. and he was very, very clear that we're staying in Texoma.
Just out of curiosity, I looked up how far his definition of Texoma, the Grayson County border, is from Salinas Stadium. It's 2.5 miles.
Is it?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, he seemed to be indicating that, like, right now they have nothing about a new stadium set up, ready to go, completed, right? That they're in talks with all these various options, implying to me that right now they're Bearcats where they're at, so I imagine if they can weather the financial storm, which by the way, he emphatically denied the rumor about the missing payroll. He also emphatically denied that. So, but we can see the attendance. I'm sure we have concerns about the cash flow and the money. And if they have the wherewithal to survive as it is now, there's no reason to think that they eventually can't get something worked out that'll work for them on whatever scale that they're working on. But, you look at their attendance being really low, and you have to wonder, but they seem invested and they seem set that this is going to be it. So check with me again in January and we'll see what's really going on at that point. But I don't doubt him. I'll take him at his word for now.
I have great admiration for the attempt. That was always a high wire ask to begin with, to try to pull that off up there. But I hope it works out for sure. All right. Atletico Dallas made. I'm still curious about this particular one, Buzz. This announcement.
Well, whether it's worth doing, the announcement is that Kyle Martino has joined their ownership group, which is interesting because he doesn't really have a Dallas connection.
Yeah.
If you looked into the press release and read the stuff that I put in my little blurb, I took out a lot of their self-congratulatory verbiage, but basically, like, Martino's got several grassroots soccer kind of companies, street soccer and community stuff and this and that, so there's some vibe there between, like, the stuff Martino has been working on and espousing and the way Atletico to this point has been doing business with this whole small Garland Street, all these local businesses. That all kind of vibes along the right lines for them. Now, whether you think Kyle Martino is going to bring a lot of juice from those things to the table and really help Atletico, I have no idea. He certainly is a guy that knows the soccer landscape, I think, pretty well. He's still involved heavily with NBC. Like, he was on one of the game I watched immediately after that. I think it was the national team.
He's with Turner. He's been doing the Turner broadcast, national team broadcasts.
I think it was the men's game. I was like, oh, that's the guy they just announced. So, like, maybe there's a parlay there with publicity and, like, I'm going back to my team. So,
I think it's interesting that Martino's involved because of all of his grassroots. He's got that goal, that pop-up goal thing that company that he helped start or fund or whatever. The reason why I find this interesting is because I keep kind of running through my head about, Atletico making the choice to go to the Cotton Bowl and the challenge of trying to get people to want to go to the Cotton Bowl on a week in, week out basis. And I think a lot of that is going to be driven by their ability to connect to the community that is close to the Cotton Bowl, which is obviously a Latino heavy community. And they clearly are making efforts in those ways. And I also think about the idea about somebody like Kyle Martino's ability to help build an atmosphere before and after the game on the Fair Park grounds. Because one of the things that has changed is recently, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but the city of Dallas nixed their deal with the private company that they had hired to run Fair Park.
Yep.
And so the city of Dallas is now running that place, which is a big part of the reason and why they ended up getting Atletico Dallas to come play there, is because they're trying to find new things to put in Fair Park on a round. And I keep thinking about this idea of how do you make going to the Cotton Bowl cool again? You hear me say that. And I think about why can't they work with the city of Dallas to create a pre and post game atmosphere where there are, DJs and events and tailgating and all this stuff? Like, think about what happens at SMU along the boulevard. And that is such a huge, massive success for SMU on a weekend basis. Why can't the city of Dallas and Atletico pull that off, it's a fairground. I mean, open the midway.
Yeah.
You've got the rides, you've got all the stuff going on there. They could really, really turn that into a really cool event that would make people want to go, whether they live in the immediate vicinity or not.
Yeah, and Kyle's involved with, this urban spaces kind of development and making soccer more accessible. And then he's got this consulting company that's about, creative services and getting, into soccer enterprises and developing audience and that kind of thing. So, as you talk about like working with the city, urban again, right? Urban spaces, urban soccer, trying to get, integrated in the community, get involved in the community, get those people down there in Cotton Bowl, making the Cotton Bowl cool. I mean, how much of their campaign, Peter, you've mentioned a million times, is about making the Cotton Bowl seem cool, so it's like Martino probably aligns with all of that stuff. Whether he'll be able to deliver or not, it's a different question, but he certainly aligns with a lot of that stuff.
There's probably money involved too, and that will all help.
Well, he's gonna be an owner. I imagine there'll be money involved.
Yeah, but I mean, what does the ownership investment look like? They didn't really talk about that.
I have no idea.
All of those components, but that's interesting, man. I mean, just watching them go through the effort of trying to keep their name on people's radars for the next 18 months or whatever it's going to be is going to be a feat. Like, that's going to be hard to do, and they continuously just figure out small ways to kind of keep that rolling and going, and so good for them. And then Buzz, last but not least, 2026 U.S. Open Cup qualifying from last weekend of local teams, by the way.
Yeah, it was from a Sunday. Yeah, Sunday night. Denton Diablos smashed Sporting NTX 6-2. Pretty decisive victory. Jay Lee had a brace among their 6 goals. I don't know if you know Jay Lee. Dallas Atletico, very confusing. Not Atletico Dallas, Dallas Atletico. They surprisingly hit 4-0 3-1. Wow. Now, I remember there was all this talk about how 4-0 had signed all these ex-FC Dallas players and guys that had been kicking around the pro game and how they had a polo court that was going to. Well, apparently only like 2 of those names showed up. Polo wasn't in goal for this game. I don't know whether they thought that it was going to be a walkover, but some people I've talked to, Dallas Atletico apparently stacked their roster pretty good too. And they had a bunch of guys that have been kicking around like a semi-pro level here in Dallas. Peter, do you know a team called Camp Wisdom?
I have heard of the team, but I don't know anything about them.
All right. The one sentence description I heard was they're a team that plays in money tournaments and tries to win local money tournaments. So like ringer type guys. So like these local teams, because in the Open Cup, you're not playing with like your league roster. You're playing with what you got, and they stack teams up. And so what you can get, some cases, right. So what they got was better than what 4-0 brought to the table. And 4-0, who is arguably, in my opinion, been the best amateur team for about 5 years now, post-COVID. But then they've lost Michelle, and the players that they trumpeted as being part of their Open Cup run didn't come.
Is that the 4-0 team Ambrose is coaching now? Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And Padilla is their GM who plays for Texoma. Anyway, Denton Diablos and Dallas Atletico now advance. They will be joined by 2 other Dallas teams, one team called Master Joga. I think I'm saying that right. And Strikers DFW, Strikers with a Z. So those 4 teams are now in the draw this Thursday, and they will learn who their opponents are. And they could be drawn as far away as like Houston or Bayou teams or Oklahoma teams. It's not necessarily that like those teams are necessarily playing each other. There's going to be a draw. Whether they'll be home or road will depend on what kind of venues they have lined up. Like the Open Cup does have rules about venues and stuff. So I'm hearing that there may not be any home games in this end of town. So we'll see. By which I mean DFW.
Yeah, none of them have been approached about hosting, have they?
Yeah, the word I got was that all 4 of them are going to have to go on the road. But, when the announcement's made on Thursday of the draw, we'll be sure and let everybody know. And obviously, we want those teams to go.
I was really hoping there was going to be a U.S. Open Cup qualifier at Moss Park down the street. I could walk over to on a. I
mean, if those teams, you got 4 chances to advance. Maybe they get the next round.
Talk about home field advantage.
Yeah, for you.
No, for a Dallas team having to make some road teams suffer playing at Moss Park would be genius.
Yeah.
All right. Well, very good. I should also throw in there Matt Denny's team crushed us. We lost like 7-1 Sunday. So, and I'm sure Denny actually scored probably at least one, if not two of those. So he's a good player.
Third Degree, the podcast, is brought to you by you, our wonderful listeners, those of you that choose to support us on the Patreon, patreon.com/third degree. If you like what we do on the web or the podcast or our reporting on social media on all the great soccer in DFW, why not join us on our Patreon? Third Degree, the podcast.
All right. Anything else?
I got nothing else.
All right. Well, boys, thank you very much. Dan, Buzz.
Thanks, man. Thanks for hosting for us.
Thanks a
Always. It's the best time ever. And thank you, DFW area soccer curious person you. We will be back next week, promise, with another episode of Third Degree, the podcast.
And we'll be equally curious.
Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast.